जय हो। जय हो। ओम गुरुवे नमः। Bonsoir, bienvenue to Virat Talks episode 50. Virat Talks presented by Virat Youth Charamangal, a group of youngsters across the globe, came together to spread the blessings of Pujya Shri Virat Gurudev. Envisioned by Sadhika Dr. Pragmaji Virat. I would like to pass the screen for the auspicious start and kind words of Dr. Sadhika Pragmaji Virat.
गुरु चरणों में वंदन नमन। जय हो। वर्ष 2022 के आगमन की आप सभी को बधाई। ये वर्ष आप सभी के जीवन में अपार खुशियां लेकर आए और वो खुशियां टिकने वाली हो, और सबसे बड़ी चीज वो खुशियां आपके अपने भीतर से उठी हुई हो। आप अपनी जिंदगी में हमेशा आगे बढ़ते जाएं, अपने एफर्ट्स राइट डायरेक्शन में लगाएं, अपनी योग्यताओं को खिलाएं और प्रतिपल मस्त रहें। चाहते तो ऐसा हम सभी हैं, हर साल ऐसी दुआ भी करते हैं और अपने बड़ों से ऐसा आशीर्वाद भी प्राप्त करते हैं, अपने गुरुओं से भी। लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं कुछ दिनों बाद फिर वही फ्रस्ट्रेशन, वही कंप्लेंट्स, जो चीज हमने खुद चुनी है उस चुनी हुई राह पर भी हमें बहुत सारे ऑब्स्टैकल्स, बहुत सारे हर्डल्स और सबसे बड़ा सेटिस्फैक्शन जरा भी नहीं। क्यों होता है ऐसा? क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं जब हम चलना तय करते हैं तब हमारी मनस्थिति कुछ और होती है और कुछ और कदम चल लेने के बाद कुछ और। तो आज हमारे जो स्पीकर हैं उनके बारे में मैं ज्यादा नहीं बताने वाली हूँ। आपको आगे कार्यक्रम में जैसे जैसे आगे बढ़ेंगे आपको पता चलेगा। लेकिन एक बात मैं आज हम सब जुड़े हुए लोगों से ये कहना चाहूंगी, जो भी आज इस सेशन में जुड़ रहे हैं, जो भी आज ये कार्यक्रम देख रहे हैं, कि जो भी बातें या जो भी इंटरैक्शन आज इस सेशन के दौरान होने वाला है उसका एग्जाम्पल चाहे जो भी हो, प्रश्न चाहे जिसके भी हो, लेकिन उसे अपने जीवन में जरूर लागू करके देखिए। हो सकता है आपको जो लंबे समय से चले आ रहे आपके चुनाव है, आपके निर्णय हैं, शायद बदलने की जरूरत महसूस हो, लेकिन बदलने के लिए हमेशा हर क्षण आपको वो अपॉर्चुनिटीज मिलती ही है। मुझे एक कोट अपने सर का हमेशा याद रहता है, अरविंद भट्ट सर, जिन्होंने हमें बहुत कुछ सिखाया। वो हमेशा कहा करते थे, चेंज, अदरवाइज चेंज इज गोइंग टू चेंज योरसेल्फ। एक बीज वृक्ष का रूप लेता है, लेकिन जरूरी होता है कि वो अपना खोल छोड़े। पांचों एलिमेंट्स, सारे एलिमेंट्स एक बीज को मिलते हैं, लेकिन अगर वो अपना खोल छोड़ेगा तो ही वो एक वृक्ष के रूप में पनपेगा। लेकिन अगर वो अपना खोल छोड़ने को तैयार नहीं है तो चाहे ये सृष्टि जितनी अपॉर्चुनिटीज उसको देती रहे, वो सिर्फ सड़ेगा गलेगा। बदलेगा तो वो तब भी, लेकिन सड़ेगा गलेगा। अपने आप को तैयार कीजिए कि हम प्रतिपल इतने अटेंटिव और अवेयर रहें कि हम जो कुछ भी करें उसमें हमें मस्ती आ रही है या नहीं। हम विराट गुरुदेव का ये आशीर्वाद जो प्रतिपल हम सबको दिया करते थे, हमेशा अपने मानस में रखें, क्योंकि गुरुदेव प्रतिपल अपना आशीर्वाद, अपनी कृपा बरसा रहे हैं। मस्त रहो। विराट यूथ चरमंगल को बहुत बहुत बधाई और ढेरों आशीर्वाद कि वो इसी तरह इस यात्रा में आगे बढ़ते रहे। जय हो।
Thank you so much, Marasa. So let's, on this auspicious note, let's proceed the talk. So first of all, I would like to wish you all bon aneatus, Jamapel Riddhi, Javian de Nanded, Maharashtra. Je suis très excité pour la première entretien à the Melville avec Aditya Bose. Just a second. Oh, I'm so sorry. Pardon me, guys. I've just got back into that French thing again. Oh my God. I've been learning this French since few months now, and this is driving me crazy. And this has become a new normal for me. I have been learning it and I'm loving it like anything else. And the weird part is, I discovered this passion of mine when I was in a contrasting career, which is CS, something like CA. Yeah. So I was preparing for my exams, and I thought that, some parts of mine are still left undiscovered. So let's start. I used to take teeny tiny breaks from my studies, and I used to start learning languages. That is a day, and this is the day. I am immensely in love with learning languages, and French, out of all, is my favorite. Okay. So there were people that, just told me, ki, Riddhi, you're not doing right. You're doing it very wrong. You shouldn't be changing the career at this age, like you're in your 20s, when you'll be settled down, when you'll get married, and all that, blah, blah, blah. And I tell them, excuse me, so they are like, please Riddhi, alag alag languages mein gaaliyan mat dena. I was like, no yaar, gaali nahi de rahi hu. It means it's better late than never. So they're like, okay, we got it. So I tell them that I wasn't so privileged to get the mentor when I was in 12th and choose the correct career path. I was doing that bhed chal. Everybody was doing. But now, everybody who's listening this talk and everybody who's with us should exhale and probably, take a back seat belt tight kar lo, because you guys are going to get a mentor which is going to change your life like upside down. And absolutely, it is like the proverb said, "Wo shark dame." That means you are better late than never. Abhi kar lo, kabhi na karne se to bahut better hai, I think. So, all I want to say, moving forward, I won't take the time. और मैं आपको बताती हूँ कि मैंने आपको बोला क्या था अभी तक. I was like, wish you a very happy new year, everybody. Virat Talk has completed a successful year, जहाँ पर speakers ने हम सबको नए perceptions दिए हैं, and we celebrate that. Kudos to that. Okay. I am Riddhi from Nanded, Maharashtra, and we are super duper excited for the 2022's first Virat Talk with none other than Aditya Bose, who has been on KBC, Kaun Banega Crorepati, one of the most prestigious shows of all the time, and who is founder and CEO of Pro Bano. बन के दिखाना है प्रो, यार उन्हीं को बताते हैं कि हम भी प्रो बन सकते हैं. Okay. So, moving forward, I would like to pass the screen to Garima Jain from Chennai for further introduction. Merci.
Hello everyone, I'm Garima Jain from Bangalore, and this is a very great opportunity for me to introduce you all to our wonderful speaker Aditya Bose. So, he's the founder and CEO of Pro Bano, a career guidance platform for the youth of India, which helps them make the right career choices and build the skills needed to succeed it. It includes career counseling, mentoring, skill development, and exposure to various opportunities. Coming from an engineering background, he is an ambitious, determined, and hardworking person. Naturally, he loves to solve real life problems for people and to make them happy. He's very passionate about the design and development of educational technology as well as entrepreneurship. Debate. He has won numerous intra and inter college debating contests, playing and watching sports, mostly cricket and football, watching Bollywood films. Mimicry, he has performed on stage a few times, and singing are some of his personal interests. As an entrepreneur, educator, career guide, and social worker, he wants to make the biggest positive impact on the Indian education system. Today's session is exclusively for students who are basically teenagers and between the ages of 15 and 18 and will assist them in answering their most challenging question. What do we really want to be when we grow up? Where do we have a vested interest? Which profession should we pursue? What talents and skills are required to achieve our personal goals? This is going to be a fantastic discussion. So stay tuned, and Aditya Bose will provide you with genuine solutions to our various questions and problems. I think it's going to be an awesome session. So, guys, stay tuned. Handing over to Tanvangi Di.
Thank you so much, Garima. And we are all really excited to hear Aditya today. So, Aditya, jitna Garima ne hame aapka intro diya and what we have seen on your website, what we have listened, what we have seen in your bio, we found that you were an engineer and now you're into the field of career counseling. You have created an app called Pro Bono. So, would you like to share the journey how from engineering you went to Pro Bono? So, over to you, Aditya.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tanvangi, and everyone for such warm introductions and such great build-up. I think it's a bit of pressure on me now, but I'll try to handle it well. So I'll quickly maybe, tell the long story short and how did I switch from engineering to career counseling and entrepreneurship. So when I was in class 10th, the story starts from there. I, as a student, was mostly motivated by the fact that if I can stand first in my class, that will give me some great social status that, okay, guy is a topper, he's doing really well in his studies. And because of that, I thought that I had worked around a loophole in the education system. What was the loophole? So there was these books you had to study throughout the year. Now, obviously, the purpose of these books and this whole subject that they teach you is for you to build knowledge so that you can use this knowledge and apply it in the world to succeed and to make an impact. That is what I know now. But at that time, what I knew is that, okay, if exams are on X day, I will study X minus 3 days. So I'll start, preparation before like 2-3 days of the exam, and I'll just mug up everything. I was great at that. I used to very well mug up, the whole book. And I'll almost using a metaphor, vomit it out in the exam so that everything is on the paper and I get some really great marks. And I'm, either the first or second in the class, I score 90% above. And that will enhance my social status. Plus, I won't have to study throughout the year. So then that means that I can enjoy my life. And the whole process I had customized to be that way. So in school, whenever, you used to get homework, I used to do it in the class only. Not because I love doing homework, just because, I wanted to get all the jobs done before going to home so that I can sleep at home, maybe watch cartoons, play computer games, go downstairs and play, not work, So everything that I did was to just minimize the amount of work that I have to do throughout the year. So in essence, you can say I was a lazy guy, but I had figured out a very nice way to be lazy so that at least the results that my parents or my teachers want out of me are produced. Now, with this mindset, when I moved on to the 10th class, obviously it isn't in our educational culture, and hence it wasn't in mine as well, to explore different career options, to explore different streams before choosing one. It was very obvious, society has a template for everything these days. And then you have to think for yourself. But again, that is something that I know now. At that time, I did not know. So society has a template, they'll ask you in 10th, you'll feel like you are making the choice, but the society is making the choice for you. You feel that you're choosing a subject, but then the society will come in and ask, okay, what percentage have you scored? I say, I have scored 95. Oh, great. Good job. You're academically pretty brilliant. I think you should take up science. But what are the subjects in commerce and arts? And don't worry about it. You should take up science. Okay, but when does a person take up commerce and arts? So if you score somewhere in the middle, you take up commerce. And if you score lower than that, you have to take up humanities. So is humanities like a punishment? These are the questions that come into your mind. And society takes up every decision of yours. This is not just class 10th decision making. After 12th also. So again, they'll ask, you feel that, okay, you are going to take a career choice. So society will again come in. That, okay, what stream had you chosen? I had taken up science. Okay, you have two options, engineer, doctor. But isn't, a BSc in physics school? No, it isn't. Engineer or doctor. Okay, what if I had chosen commerce? Then you could have become a CA or you could have done a BCom or a BBA. Okay, what about cost and works accountant? I've heard that's something pretty cool. CA, BCom or BBA. So people have made up these choices. It's a template. And this goes on till your life. When you should take up a job, when should you marry, when should you buy a house, when should you retire, when should you die? Obviously, that's something decided by God. But apart from that, everything is decided by somehow the society. So I had gone into that loop. Now I chose science. Obviously, I did not even know what are the subjects in commerce and arts. And as a result, I thought, okay, engineer or doctor. My elder brother is a computer science engineer. He scored a good rank in the IIT exam, and I saw the amount of good social status he earned because of that. So maybe if I score a better rank, not in a competitive way, but just in a nice way, and if I go into an IIT, that will give me a great ego boost, and that will also make the society respect me. Plus, I have heard that the IITians earn really good money, so that will also be there. And people used to tell me to computers mein bahut tez hai. Now, when I hear that, obviously you might think that, it's something related to computer programming, but actually it was related to me fixing up small problems in a computer. So it's literally being computer savvy, like how you would help your mom with, WhatsApp, how to run WhatsApp, and she would say, "Arey yaar, tum to mobile mein kafi tez ho." It's almost like that. So I was pretty savvy with computers of those times. So I could format your Windows drive, I could, assemble your computer like your desktop PC and stuff. So people used to really respect this state of mind. Plus, I was good at studies. So it almost made me think that I'm made for computer engineering. And I thought that, okay, I'll be a computer engineer from IIT Delhi because I live in Delhi. IIT Delhi, the best college I can be in. I dedicated 2 years of mine to studying and preparing for IIT JEE. For the first time, I tried to study it regularly. So every day, 2-3 hours rather than, 2-3 hours just before the exam. And I was doing decently well in studies. But I was never interested in studies, to be honest, because when you're in school, you're like a tadpole put in a river. They ask you to study, you have to study social science, you have to study maths, you have to study Hindi, English, and you have to study. You have no choice. You have no choice in regards with the school that you are in, the location of the school, the transportation system to the school, and for good reason, you don't know much at that time. But later on, again, there are only 2-3 stream choices. So you can't really customize your subjects. You can't take history with PCM. That's the bad part. So I had to study, and I was studying. I had accepted that truth. I tried really hard, but my exam did not go well. And I could not end up in an IIT, but I ended up in a college called Indian Institute of Engineering, Science and Technology. So the good part is that it has both Indian Institute and Technology in the name. So I can, discount it for a smaller version of IIT. But I was pretty pissed. I was pretty sad at that time. So I was, in fact, this is something that I would like to share. Maybe, we'll come back to it later. At that time, I was so sad because of, me not getting into IIT. Plus, I don't know what the CBSE guys did with my board result. I thought that I'll get 90-92%. Usually, whenever I gave exams, whatever percentage I assumed that I'm going to get, I got more than that because I was a very pessimistic person when I started off. But this time I got like 6% lower. And all my marks, they had literally written that in, 80s, 88, 86. It almost felt like that somebody had, rolled the dice and written the marks. So I felt really sad. I felt so sad that I almost committed suicide. And that's the worst part. I now realize that life has so much potential. Obviously, at that time, I did not know. I was a 12th class student. My whole life revolved around a good result and people respecting me for that. All these thoughts started coming to my mind. Okay, people will now think I'm a loser. I, flunked this exam. So people will now think that I was a rattebaz or a maggu, whatever names you can call, ragadu. These are names, which you call people who are not very intelligent, but they are good at mugging up. कि ये रट्टेबाज था, इसकी बस की वैसे थी नहीं एग्जाम क्लियर करने की, अब आया ना औकात पे. So I started thinking these things for myself only, that people will think these things about me. I stopped talking to people. I used to, lie down and just keep looking at the fan. Signs of a person who's clearly not very happy. My parents, who would earlier, pull me back from playing outside because I played outside too much, now started to push me to go and play outside. In fact, my father brought me a football from Chennai just to make sure that, I go outside to play. He sent my elder brother, who was also not very excited to play outside with me, that, okay, support him. At least he'll get his mind off these things. And even though I wanted to drop a year and get an admission into an IIT, my parents, for the first time ever, forced me to get into a college. That, get into a college, then you see. Because at least a good college is guaranteed this time. You don't even know with this mental state next time the result might be worse. So I went into college really angry and sad. And obviously, these are negative emotions, but somehow maybe God figured out a way, or it was a coincidence or luck, whatever people want to believe in, that I channelized it in the right direction. So when I went into college, I thought that, okay, I have already been proven a loser because I could not get into IIT. That's not the case anymore. But at that time, I used to think like that. So now, how to compensate for it? If I become the best all-rounder in college, and if I ace at everything that there is, then I'll be able to prove a point that, see, I'm not a fluke. I did not come first in class because of a fluke. I was a good student. And hence, I joined every club in college. So in college, there are these clubs like a music club, dance club, drama club, and photography, debate. So I joined all the clubs and I started going to every club. Indirectly, I was exploring for the first time in my life. I was trying out different activities which I had never taken seriously in school. And I started to realize what I'm good at and what I'm interested in. Eventually, I kept leaving a few clubs, like quiz club I left because I could never get to the stage. In Bengal, quizzing circuit is really tight. You have to really know a lot to get to the stage, even among the top 6 teams, let alone win the prize. Similarly, with photography club, I could not handle a camera very well. I left it. Drama club, I wasn't that great at acting. Again, I left it. Dance, again, same thing. I like dancing. I'm decent at it, not great. Left it. So like that, I just kept leaving according to what I felt. In my second semester, I was trying to study computer science and I wasn't really developing an interest in it. And I was always asking myself a question that this is something that I have chosen myself. So I had chosen Bachelor of Engineering in Information Technology, which is not computer science, but it is computer programming only essentially. So I was wondering that for the first time ever, I have chosen something in my life myself. And I'm still not studying it because I want to study it. I'm studying it because there's an exam. Maybe I know that I have to study it for the next 3 years. My teachers want me to study this. My parents want me to study this. So it's more of an accountability thing rather than a, self-willingness. So I was a little confused. And at exactly that time, again, in my pursuit to become the best all-rounder in college, I was looking at different competitions to apply. So I applied to a t-shirt design competition. I did not win it. But that made me a lot more extrovert because I actually went into every hostel room to get me votes. So that made me pretty popular in college. So similarly, there was this business plan competition whose advertisement was there on a website called daretocompete.com. It still exists. I keep doing their marketing in my talks everywhere just because at that time they helped me notice an opportunity. So it was an opportunity where I had to pitch an idea for a business. I did not have a business idea. Nobody in my whole generation of families has ever tried a business. So we had never even thought. My whole idea of stepping into engineering was that I'll get out of this lower middle class family. So we'll be able to afford a lot more than we were able to afford before this. So maybe I'll get a 30,000-40,000 per month job and I'll enjoy my life. Give 20,000 to my parents. The rest 10-20,000 I'll spend partying and living life. So I had never thought of a business. But this time I just wanted to participate to win the competition. The cash prize, I'll party with my friends. The certificate, I'll save it so that I can reproduce it with my CV when the job interview comes. And the job interviewer might think, "Yaar, kya mast all-rounder aadmi hai." So that's why I had actually participated. Now, to participate, obviously, you need an idea. So an idea is what? A solution to a problem. So this was the problem that I was facing, that I'm not developing an interest in computer engineering or in information technology as such. I started asking my other roommates and friends, hostel friends. At that time, thankfully, I did not have a smartphone. Most of my friends did not have a smartphone. So we used to talk. Now, obviously, the situation is different. So around 10 people in my hostel room, and we were just discussing. So I asked them this question, that why have you chosen mechanical, civil, whatever engineering you have chosen, metallurgy, mining, etc. And the kind of answers I got, I could easily understand the fact that these are not answers of passionate people. Nobody really knows what they are going to do 4 years later. They have not chosen the stream because they love this work or they even know about the subject. They have chosen this because they saw someone earning really well in it. They chose this because they saw someone having a good societal status, maybe having a great car or something, having a beautiful wife. Because I was living in a boys' hostel, I don't know what the motivations of girls were at that time. So I noticed that people had chosen a career option based on the externalities of it, the money you earn, the societal status you have, the kind of lifestyle you have apart from your career, your family life, your relationships, etc., friends. And nobody had chosen it for the intrinsic values that, will you enjoy the work? Do you even know what the work is in the first place? Or what kind of a social impact you will make? That was out of consideration. So I started understanding that all of us have mostly made wrong career choices based on either societal stereotypes or parental unfulfilled dreams. And to change this, we should maybe provide career guidance to young students so that at least they know what are the career options available. So I never knew that there's a career option called BDES, Bachelor of Design. I never knew. I never knew that there's a career option called Cost and Works Accountant before I became a career counselor. Let alone the hippier career options like dolphin trainer and stand-up comedian, etc. So I figured that if we create a school, a brick and mortar school, where we also provide career guidance, that would be the best school. And all the students would end up ultimately making the right career choice. I pitched this idea and I wrote an executive summary around it. I got selected for the finals. I was pretty excited about it. And competing against me were senior people. I was just a 12th class student at that time, pursuing my first year, 18 years of age. I knew nothing about business. But the people who I was competing against were MBAs. Most of them were MBAs. So I was pretty excited that, okay, I've already proved a point by being one of the youngest finalists. Now, if I go and win this thing, my college people will really respect me. So I went all the way to Silchar. I participated in that competition. The judges blasted me off. They had all but negative, all but positive feedback for me. So they gave me all the negative feedback in the world that your financials are absolute trash. Your presentation is full of text. You don't know what a business is, stuff like that. And I lost, obviously. I did not win the competition. It also rained that day, by the way, just to give it a filmy touch. I'm sad it's raining. So then my usual approach to losing is always a sore loser's approach. That my luck was not favoring me. Judges were idiots. So my usual approach was always to blame other people apart from me. So even when I did not crack JEE Main, my main reason for that was that my luck was bad. I said that so many times my parents got me these things. So after that, obviously, I stopped saying this. They spent a lot of money on this, and according to what we were earning at that time. So, but for the first time, when I lost this competition, I did not have negative feedback for the judges or for my luck or for God. So this time, for the first time, I thought that, okay, these are things I can easily improve on. So on those holy vacations when everybody went home, I was there in the college, and thankfully, since only I was there in my hostel, the Wi-Fi bandwidth was great, so I could use it for the right reasons. So I researched a lot, what's the education ecosystem of India? And I found out a few secondary statistics which confirmed my primary statistics. I'll give you those. So 60% of people in India are dissatisfied from their jobs. It's a Times Job survey that they have conducted. 52% of government high school students drop out of school after class 10th every year. So in rural areas, basically, many students, half of them don't even complete school even after reaching high school, let alone the primary dropouts. And different reports have different statistics. There was an MHRD report in 2014 that said 75 to 85% of graduates are unemployable. Now, India Skills Report 2021 says that more than 50% of our graduate students are unemployable. So basically, unemployability is high. Now, if we come down to the root cause of it, from what I could understand, so I could understand that this validates the need for career guidance. Because if people chose the right career options for themselves, I hope you can hear me clearly. You can. So if people choose the right career options, then they'll be able to develop an interest in them. If they're interested in it, then they will work hard themselves with their own willingness to upskill. They'll enjoy it. So they don't have to be forced or to be held accountable कि boss को submit करना है इसलिए मैं काम करूँगा. They'll just work for the enjoyment of it. They'll wake up because they want to wake up rather than having to wake up. यार office जाना है क्या है. So they'll not live for the weekends. That's one great thing, So they'll live every day fully rather than living one day in a week that to sleep. So they're living for sleeping. What kind of a life is that? And they will, since they're willingly pursuing this career option, they will build ability in it. Because if you have even the slightest of potential, you'll obviously learn as you're working, as you're practicing. The more you build your ability, eventually people will start noticing it. So if you're building your ability, if you're applying to jobs in that field every day you're applying to 10, 15 jobs, ultimately by your 500th rejection or by your 1000th rejection, somebody will notice, right? And once somebody notices, you will also get external motivation because people will pay you. So you receive money, which is a great motivator. People will respect you for your work because you're contributing to that organization. Or if you have your own business, you are contributing directly to people. And because of that contribution, people will respect you, people will pay you money. That will motivate you further to work hard. And that will further motivate you to, build your ability. The more you build your ability, again, more money, better promotions, better pay packages, more holidays, whatnot. And the cycle continues. This interest and ability cycle continues, and that is probably what your passion is. So all these things I started to understand. That if people make the right career choice, they'll enjoy their work, so no job dissatisfaction. They will upskill, so lesser unemployability. And they'll understand the purpose behind education, so they'll also study further and build more education. With this, then I started thinking, how can I improve this idea? When I took this idea to the web, because the web is the future, I started winning business plan competitions. So I had a very poor habit of spending all the money on parties. In fact, this one business plan competition that I won in my second year, I won in IIT Guwahati. I was the second prize winner. I never won first prize. So that's been a record, always second or third. So when I won 15,000 rupees, I won't lie to you. What I did is I spent it in giving an alcohol party to my whole hostel. And at that time, I did not even drink. So I was the only one who was sitting like this and everyone was drinking. So I had a very bad habit to spend money on parties. In fact, sometimes, even I would get random people from the streets and give parties to them. That tero party chi aaja. So because I have seen money in my account. And at that time, my expenditure was very low. Per month, I would hardly have to spend like 500,000 rupees on my snacks. Just that's it. So I started participating in these business plan competitions. As I took feedback and as I participated further in them, I won some, I lost most of them. But these wins really gave me a lot of confidence and good societal respect in my college. So that's almost formed my identity because I wasn't that great at academics. And with time, as I started winning business plan competitions, my whole focus shifted. So at that time, at least I was paying a little bit of attention to my academics. Now it was totally shifted to this. I would wait for my engineering classes to get over so that I can come back, use the free Wi-Fi and do some free courses on education and entrepreneurship from edX, or maybe download some pirated book and read it. So I read a lot of books. I read Lean Analytics. I read Lean Startup. I read the Personal MBA. So like this, I read a lot of books. I did a lot of courses on entrepreneurship and education from great universities like Harvard and all for free from edX and Coursera and different platforms. And by the third year, I realized one thing, that why do I wait for my classes to get over and then I come back and again study? I apparently hate studying, but this thing I study. If today I stop this, neither my parents nor my teachers will say anything to me. But still I am doing this. So there is no outside incentive for me to do this. I'm just doing this because I like it. I lose many business plan competitions, but usually I take good feedback in very constructive way. Apart from most of my other cases where I took it like a sore loser. So I realized that this is something that I really want to do. And that is when I decided that I'll start this full time. Now, this was the decision point. Obviously, I was not very sure. So I still appeared for the placement rounds in my fourth year. And my whole plan was to ensure that I get the placement as soon as possible. So that for 1 year, my father believes that I'm going to actually take up a job and he does not disturb me and I can build some good base for the startup. So actually that plan got successful. I got placed in the second company that came to college. It was a Big Four consultancy firm. And decent package, I was getting paid around like 45,000 per month, which was much more than I had expected when I entered college. And which was great because I hadn't really prepared for that particular placement. My whole focus was on my startup. So I kept working on my startup in my fourth year. And also since I knew that I'm going to start up and I don't really have any money, so I started to also work a few part-time jobs. So 8 to 5, I would go to classes. Then I would teach home tuition. So I would catch a bus till a place and teach home tuition to a 9th class girl. By the time I returned, it usually took me like 10, 11 a.m. PM. And then I used to have dinner. After having dinner, I also used to do technical freelance writing. So there's this website called essayWriters.net. I used to write essays for the people who did not do their homeworks, for US guys and UK guys. So they get like research papers in their homeworks and they don't want to do it, so they upload it on a platform. And if you do it for them, they'll pay you like $2-3 per page, which is great payment. It was converting at 65 rupees per dollar at that time. So great. Now it's even better. So I earned a decent bit using these methods. Obviously, my spending habits did not improve in a day. So I saved around 30 to 40,000 after college, as far as I remember. And now I decided to move to Bangalore. So one reason was legit, and one reason was, now I know it was stupid. So one reason was that Bangalore is the Silicon Valley of India, which is a good reason. One reason was really, not that great. That was that if I start up in Delhi and if it does not do well, then people will make further fun of me. ये एक तो इसका IIT में भी नहीं हुआ, फिर इसकी जॉब भी नहीं लगी होगी पक्का, इसलिए बिजनेस कर रहा है, और अब इसका देखो बिजनेस भी नहीं चला. So I thought, I'll rather start in Bangalore where nobody knows me, so my failure will be erased from the history of mankind. So I went to Bangalore and I stayed at my brother's place. But in the next 3 months, whichever school I went to never allowed me a chance to meet its decision maker. So I really wanted to sell my career counseling, my career-based courses to these schools. So I thought that maybe I'll enter directly because I'm from a good college, they'll allow me entry. But nobody allowed me entry. So whenever I used to go to guards, they used to tell me that, buddy, you have to take an appointment before coming. And when I used to mail them to get the appointment, nobody used to reply. If I call them, so the receptionist would not let me speak to the principal. So they were like, okay, if your thing is good, we'll email you back. Nobody emailed me back. So 3 months I kept going in the cycle and I spent all my money in surviving, like eating food and all that stuff, laundry. So now I had zero money and I had no knowledge of business. So I had reached an impasse. What do I do now? So my money had finished. I figured a frugal, or rather, not so good way of living. So I thought that, okay, if I eat breakfast fully in a day, like, if I fill my stomach with breakfast in a day, I'll have to eat only one time. I'll not use money to travel. So many a times, I used excuses to not pay for the ticket in a bus. I had learned that these Bangalore people have bus passes. So I used to wait for the most crowded bus that goes to my destination. I used to board that, push and shove my way to the back. And then whenever a conductor who obviously can't reach me, used to ask me for, paying for a ticket, I used to say pass. Now there are two possibilities what can happen. So either he'll ask me to show the pass or he'll just think that, okay, this guy is speaking with confidence. He obviously has a pass. So many a times I got away with that. I did not really need to buy a ticket. Sometimes they used to ask me for a pass and then I used to do an acting, that, "Arey, pass kaha gaya? Abhi to laya tha." And then whatever change I had to pay for the ticket. Sometimes I did not even have enough change to pay for the ticket till my actual destination. So I had to get down somewhere in the middle and walk. So since I was walking about 10 kilometers every day for meetings and drenched in sweat, nobody obviously took orders from me, that if I go to a school and I say I'm the CEO of a company and my whole, shirt is dripping off sweat, I have this huge beard because I haven't even gotten time to shave, they'll think, kaisa CEO hai? Kaisi company hogi iski? So nobody, gave me a chance initially. And I was losing money by the day. I was growing thinner by the day because I wasn't eating well, plus I was walking a lot. So this one day, what happened is I was returning back from a place called Marathalli, and it was pretty close to my home, but it was late at night. So I thought that maybe today I'll not wait for the crowded bus. It's too late at night. This is not a city I know very well, so I'd rather not get lost. So I boarded a bus which was completely empty. There was not even a conductor. Sometimes in Bangalore at night, it's just the bus driver charging you for tickets. So I tried to run to the back, but the bus driver caught me. Pay for the ticket. So I obviously tried to escape, pass. He asked me to show the pass, again acting, and I bought the ticket. Thankfully, at that time, I had enough change to buy one ticket to my place. And when the bus was moving in its direction, it got stopped in the middle. Two men hurriedly in civil uniforms climbed the bus. They started checking everyone's tickets. And now, since I had bought the ticket, I actually sat in the front, proud. So this guy sat down right next to me, because the seat next to me was vacant. And he asked me, that, do you have a ticket? I showed him. So then I asked him that, first, let's assume that somebody did not have a ticket. What would you have done? So he said very matter-of-factly that, we are policemen, so we would have either taken you to prison for a day or we would have charged you 500 rupees. Now, not a big deal, right? 500 rupees, but at that time, I did not have 500 rupees. So I would have to call my parents and ask. My parents can give me money, so it's not like, my parents can't afford 500 rupees, but then it would have been a really bad impression. They would have thought, kya kar rahe ho tum wahan pe? Isse achha aao chupchap job karo. So at that time, I thought, it really struck me, it made me really emotional that what am I doing with my life? I should have rather pursued that job. But if I'm not pursuing that anymore, then I've got to make sure that I never fall back to the situation ever again. So it, in a way, was a life-changing moment for me. After that, I signed up with a few tuition aggregators, home tuition aggregators. I again started teaching home tuition to earn a little bit of money while my startup takes off. And I also started using LinkedIn very effectively. I thought that, okay, if people are not taking my workshops in a paid manner, maybe I'll start offering for free. Let's see what happens. So I started reaching out to all the principals. And a few principals responded, hearing that it is for free. So I got my first workshop in a school in Kerala. Eventually, by the next 3 months, I had gotten workshops in 8 schools. And I was doing it with a few, it was not just 8 schools, it was a combination of schools and NGOs. So I was doing it there. And I was also learning a lot about what feedback do students give once you give them certain cues. So when do they get bored? How long a lecture is boring for them, stuff like that. So I started to learn about career counseling, and I started to learn about student feedback. And I also used to go to a lot of events at that time because I was really trying to get my big breakthrough, how to earn money. So I used to go to these educational technology events. And I did not even have money to go to them because they had tickets ranging from 2,500 till 10,000, 20,000 per delegate. So what I used to do is I used to call these people and I told them that, see, I'm a college student. I've just graduated, just. So if you can consider me to be a college student and give me some free pass, I'll give you a good testimonial, irrespective of whatever sales I do, that this event helped me generate great sales. Now, if a young guy with a very young startup like mine can generate sales in your event, you can use that to prove that if yours is an established company, you can generate even better sales. And that would encourage the bigger companies to take more tickets in your event. So most of them obviously thought that this was absolute, an absolute lie. But some of them believed in it. And some of them gave me free tickets or discounted tickets, heavily discounted tickets. Now, I had learned this from a few networking events that I attended during college as an entrepreneur or as a student entrepreneur, that whenever a speaker gets down from stage, you run behind him or her and introduce yourself really fast and exchange a business card so that you can email and follow up regarding your sales or investment with him or her. So this thing I had learned in a networking event. There, a lot of people with me used to rush to the speaker. But in this educational event, nobody used to rush. So I was the only one to rush to the speaker and I used to speak to them really fast. Hi, this is Aditya Bose. I'm the founder of Pro Bono. Can you provide me with a business card of yours? We provide career guidance to high school students. It's like that. Some people really liked my enthusiasm. And they gave me their business cards. I used to follow up with them like crazy, every 3 days. Ma'am, any update? Ma'am, any update? So some of them started moving forward with me in discussions. One of them was the CSR wing of a huge telecom company called Airtel. See, I revealed it. And I received a call from Bharti Foundation. And they really considered my proposal seriously. Although every now and then, because they are busy, they used to get a little inactive. So I used to keep calling them every week. So by the time it was 6-7 months into my startup, I started receiving some paid offers from different schools, because the good part about Bangalore is word spreads around really fast. Early adopter mindset they have, Silicon Valley of India. So a lot of people got to hear about this young kid with spiked hair and weird clothes. He comes to the schools and students really get impressed when he comes and talks to them. So I started getting some paid workshops, 5,000, 6,000 rupees for each, that you come to our school and you promote our school and show that this school is really doing well by providing career counseling to its kids, and maybe promote students to get admission into a school. So I did those events. I got a little bit of money and a little bit of respect, so which I was really craving. Then around this time only, I got a call from Bharti Foundation, and they wanted me to sign a contract with them for 52 schools in Delhi and Haryana. And that was my big break. So that is when I incorporated my startup. I started providing career counseling to their students. And since then, it has been a great journey. It happened in January 2018. In fact, today is the 4th year anniversary of my startup on paper. So 8th January 2018, it got registered. And from then on, we have provided career counseling to 30,000 students all across India. We have been to more than 150, 160 schools. We have created a real impact in their lives. Initially, when I started up, my thinking was always that, I want to become the youngest billionaire. I want my startup to be really famous. I want myself to be really famous. Over time, a little bit of maturity, I hope, has come. And I feel a little more positive about making a positive impact in the society. Because when I die, this body, this mind might not exist, but at least pro bono will exist if I establish a system. This can continue to serve students. So I really felt strongly for it. And now my whole aim for pursuing the startup is very different from what it was earlier. I motivate students, encourage students to think like this only. A few things which I learned from my startup experience, from this experience, I want to share with everyone who's watching. And hopefully it helps you can interpret the story in whichever way you want. These are just my learnings. You can take your own learnings from it, and then maybe we'll move to the specific career aspects of career guidance and maybe a few questions regarding that. So I have a presentation actually. I'll share that in a second. Yeah, found it. Is my screen visible? Cool. So I have a few stories related to this, and I'll quickly summarize. Obviously, the journey, as I said, hasn't been totally a linear up from where I got my first contract. It has been a lot of ups and downs. In 2019, we had a really bad year. We earned even lesser than our first year in business. Many a times, my whole team has left me, not because I was a bad person, but just because, they had a little bit of reservations about the risk that is existing in pursuing a startup for so long. So it has been a topsy-turvy journey, ups and downs. But the good part is that if you enjoy the work that you're doing, everything seems like an up to you. And if you get more money and good success as a part of it, then it's just an added bonus. So what I learned from it is, first, always take up new opportunities which excite you. If I would have not tried participating in that business plan competition, I would not have been pursuing this career option. In the last 4.5 years, whatever my identity has been created, whoever knows me and whatever I have done courtesy being a part of the startup, starting the startup. And I got started because I got an encouragement from the business plan competition that I first participated in, even though it gave me totally negative feedback, because I enjoyed doing that. So always, I personally feel that we should take up new opportunities which excite us. I have another story related to this, but maybe if time is left for it, I'll tell it later. So we should try different stuff. If we don't try, we never know whether we are good at it or bad at it, or whether we like it or we hate it. So who knows the career option that you want to pursue or you are meant for, you haven't even tried it out yet. So school and college are primarily ages where you can explore things a lot. Even if you're pursuing a job, you can find a little bit of time apart from your job to explore if you're not really happy with your career option. Even if you're happy, it's never bad to explore. So always keep taking up new opportunities. Start finding out new things about yourself and about the world. That always helps. Second, leverage the power of the internet. Internet has made petabytes of information available at a single swipe of our finger. Sometimes we feel really motivated to use it just for consumption. Now, consumption acts as a fuel. I personally feel that a car is meant to take you to the destination. Its job is not to fill in petrol. So similarly, our job is not to just consume content on Netflix or YouTube. Our job is to also act on it. So obviously, we learn from everything that we do and anything that we do. But there are concentrated sources of learning on the internet which we should definitely leverage, and then we should definitely apply our learnings from that. So like online courses, like books that you find on the internet, like educational videos and podcasts. I personally feel everyone's consumption diet on internet should consist of at least 30 to 40% of educational content. It can be more, it can be a little lesser, but somewhere around that. So it should not be completely entertainment consumption that teaches you but does not teach you a lot. That mostly acts as a fuel. Third, listen to everyone with an open mind. At one point of time, I used to feel that मुझसे ज़्यादा पूरी दुनिया को पता है मेरा business कैसे चलाना है. When you're a kid starting up at 22, 23, even right now I'm a kid, I'm 27, not even 27, I'm 26 years of age, I'm going to turn 27 in next 2 months. So I'm a kid essentially still. And when people see a kid running a startup, they have a lot of advice for you. It can be anyone. It can be the guy who's giving you an auto ride till your destination. It can be your cab driver. It can be your teacher, your parents, random bypassers who hear about your idea, YouTube commenters. But the good part is that the whole world is doing the thinking for you. So listen to everyone with an open mind. You can always choose whose advice to take and whose advice not to take based on your logical framework, which you can again keep developing over time. So then over time, whose advice do you take? That also becomes better. But it's important to listen, to notice the golden advice that's coming from other people's mouths. And there is a lot of golden advice available if you ignore the noise or if you filter out the noise. But it's important to listen to understand which one is the noise and which one is the actual golden advice that you should definitely be applying. And it can come from anyone. Number 4, don't worry about people stealing your idea. If you have the passion for it, then you are working hard, and you are working hard in a disciplined, consistent way. And irrespective of whatever amount of money somebody else has, if they're not working as hard and if they're not as passionate about that idea, they'll eventually lose to you in that race. So if your primary concern is that I want to be the number 1 company in my field, even then, if you talk to people about your idea, nobody can really steal your idea. And if they can steal, then it was never your company. Because let's face it, today my company has provided career guidance to around 30,000 students across India. That's still a low number. I haven't reached even to a fraction of India. Let's say Mr. Mukesh Ambani finds merit in this idea. Can he defeat me? I don't think so. Because he has all the money in the world, but I have the passion for it. So maybe initially he'll be winning, but slow and steady wins the race. So I'll keep, approaching slowly and steadily, and ultimately Pro Bono will be the company which will provide career guidance to all the students across India. And we'll keep improving ourselves to be able to do that. So I don't worry about people stealing my idea. You should not either. Take feedback from people. In fact, share your idea with people. That's how it will get better. 5th, start prototyping and selling as soon as possible. This is more from a business lens. That if you're just asking people that, okay, do you like this idea? People will say yes, because they have nothing to lose. If you ask them 100 rupees to pay for what you're offering, that is when they'll start asking you questions. So a grave mistake that I committed during my college years is that I just kept participating in these business plan competitions. I created a prototype, but I never sold it. I always asked people, do you like it? Obviously, everybody said yes. But when you sell it, that is when you receive real feedback. That is when people tell you why they are not buying what you're offering. And based on that, you can improve your offering. So start selling as soon as possible. Sales is real feedback. Surveys are not. 6th, this is something that I've realized through and through life. Struggle is a consistent part of your life, and it is not exclusive to anyone. That kid from far away who looks the richest and has the best of resources maybe has a lot of parental pressure to replicate his father's or mother's success. So everyone comes with their own advantages and disadvantages. If I am poor, maybe my parents haven't performed as well in the society and they don't expect as much from me. So there are advantages of being in every place. There are disadvantages of being in every place. Everybody has their own struggles, and it's a consistent part of life. It's not like, you crack one big breakthrough and then it's up and up and up. The way sometimes our parents convince us that 10th kar lo, sab theek ho jayega, nothing to worry about later. Never happens. Every period in life will have its own struggles. And if you learn to accept it, that's when I personally feel you'll enjoy. Obviously, that does not mean that you'll never get sad or angry, but learn to express it in a way that's not really harmful to anyone, and learn to move over it as fast as you can. If it is a month, great. If it is a day, even better. If it is a year, you can try to improve it, but if it takes that much time, take that much time and then move on. So it's not exclusive to anyone. If you're struggling, then a lot of people are struggling with you. So the answer to why me is, it's not just why you, it's why everyone. And, that's something that we'll have to figure out, that why is the struggle a part of life. Maybe pain gives you feedback to improve and to, understand why happiness is so valuable. And seventh is that if you're making something you truly believe in, then it is your obligation to sell it. Because if you're not selling it, then you're not pitching it with confidence to other people that it can really do something great for them. And hence, somebody with a substandard product or, some substandard solution might do a better job at selling. And hence, that is the product that people are using. So if you feel that you're making something better, then try your best to sell it. If you lose in the competition, then try to improve yourself. But there are some people, and even I used to feel initially, कि यार मैं उनसे पैसे मांग रहा हूँ, am I committing a crime? But I think I'm not, because I'm generating employment by asking them money for it. I am making myself self-sustainable by asking them money for it. I am allowing myself creative freedom by asking them money for it. So money makes things sustainable. It is an important tool, at least. So it's your obligation to sell something that you truly believe in. Do your moral duty. Make the best product or service reach to people so that it can solve their problem, so that it can make a societal impact. And yeah, that's it from my side regarding my personal story. I know I took a lot more time than I had thought I would, but I hope it was at least a little interesting.
Thank you so much, Aditya. And सबसे पहले आपको congratulations for completing for your anniversary of your app. एंड समहाउ आपकी जो स्टोरी थी वो हम सबके साथ रेजोनेट की. जो स्ट्रगल्स आपने मेंशन किए एंड द पॉइंट यू मेंशन दैट स्ट्रगल इज कंसिस्टेंट, इट्स नॉट एक्सक्लूसिव टू एनीवन. सो आपकी जो स्टोरी थी वो कहीं ना कहीं हम लोगों के साथ रेजोनेट की. एट सम पॉइंट आई हैव सीन पीपल एंड सम थिंग्स आई हैव एक्सपीरियंस्ड माई सेल्फ अबाउट चूजिंग अ करियर. लाइक I had good amount of marks and I chose science as well. But what I'm doing right now is completely different from what I chose back in my 12th class. So your story has resonated with us so well. Thank you so much for doing that. And the way you spoke about how family supported you and everything. So thank you so much for that. And majority of questions जो मैंने बनाए थे आपके लिए to ask you, that the queries I had, and as a group we had the good queries for you, वो आपने major answer कर दिए, but there are still major questions left. So I'll begin with the questions now. So the first question I want to ask you, you said there's no right time to choose a career, but still I want to ask you, what is the right time to choose career? क्योंकि हमको 10th में बोलते हैं कि अच्छा अभी ये time important है, 12th में बोलते हैं ये time important है, then after we are in the last year of a bachelor's तब वापस बोला कि ये time important है. Now I'm in my master's, so अभी बोल रहे हैं कि नहीं अभी बेटा अभी decide कर लो कि आगे क्या करना है. So what is the right time to choose the career, and क्या factors हमको लेने चाहिए career decide करने से पहले, कि क्या देखना चाहिए, क्या फैक्टर्स आपने कुछ मेंशन किए, बट आई वुड लाइक यू वापस आप एक बार उनको मेंशन कर दीजिए.
Sure. Thank you so much, Tanmangi, for that question. Personally, I'm still figuring out, even, that sounds a little weird as a career counselor for me only to say that I'm figuring out. But, opinion changes with time. So a lot of things I had very different opinions about earlier, and now, so earlier, I had never had this impact perspective on things, because at that time I never believed in it. I thought कि पहले अपना oxygen mask नीचे करो, दूसरों की बाद में देख लेंगे. Now I personally feel कि मेरा oxygen mask नीचे है, then I'm thinking about impact. So regarding the right time to choose a career, I personally feel there is a right time, and but there is no ultimate right time. Now this sounds a little paradoxical. I'll tell you how I think. So I'm pretty sure everybody has heard about Shah Rukh Khan. Now, if he thought that, okay, I'll explore the 5,000 career options available in India. For 2 years, I'll do graphic designing. For 2 years, I'll do mass media. For 2 years, I'll do computer science. And I'll keep doing different things like this. He wouldn't have been famous, and we wouldn't have known him, because he would have been jack of all trades. So there's a time to explore and a time to focus on one thing and become an expert in that. So that is usually in school and college. Especially in school, because then you have the most time, your classes are from 8 to 3 usually, or even earlier, or maybe a little later, but essentially you spend lesser hours in school. After that, if you have homework, so let's say another hour, and then you're free for the day, apart from the time that you have exams. So you have a lot of time to explore. And at that time, it's very important to explore the different activities available in the universe in a guided way, because again, we can't try out all the activities, but at least we should try out as many as possible. What is that guided way? Obviously, that a career counselor can usually help out with, discovering your interests, your abilities, discovering what you might have an interest in based on your personality, things like that. So that within the first 10, 15, 20, 30 activities only, you find something that you might be very passionate about. So then your hit and trial is lesser, and as a result, your demotivation is lesser. But it's never too late, so there's never the ultimate time of choosing a career, because somebody, let's say, who's 60 and who now thinks that, okay, what have I done for the last 60 years? Firstly, I think that's a wrong perspective to have, because must have done something at least. If not, what they wanted to ideally do, at least have made some contribution to the world. So never, life is never wasted. Knowledge is never wasted. So they can use this experience, and now they can look forward, then maybe figure out their passion. Maybe according to the average life expectancy of India, let's say they figure it out at 62 years of age and then die at 70. So it's just 8 years of pursuing passion. But then I feel it's still better than a lifetime of not pursuing passion. At least that person could pursue that for 8 years and then could pass on that learning to a generation of young people who now know what this guy felt like. So it's a whole new, set of knowledge altogether. And this guy has made the whole world a better place just by sharing that knowledge. Obviously, contributing throughout his career by working in different fields. So if you discover it early, great. If you discover it late, still better than not discovering it at all. So whatever age people are at, they should really, keep exploring. What are the right criteria or criterion to make the right career choice? I personally feel, so once you are exploring, in short, discover your passion, which is a mixture of your interests and abilities. How to find out that, again, career counselors can really help you like us. Then use that passion to solve a global problem. The bigger the global problem you solve, the better it is. So right now, let's say we are facing a globally catastrophic biological risk in the name of COVID. If somebody really creates something that finishes it from the root, great problem solved. The whole future generation will thank you. So similarly, the person who invented the wheel, the people before that person, who maybe arrived at failed attempts of inventing a wheel, through which this person who invented the wheel knew what not to do. So all these people, we all thank them for this. Today, I can, if I can just click my fingers and arrive at Bangalore or Hyderabad through Zoom or Google Meet. So somebody made a laptop, somebody made computer before that, somebody created the internet, somebody created this video conferencing software. So all of these people have helped humanity in huge ways. So any global problem solved through your passion is always welcome. That's the best way to go about it. And if you're solving a global problem, then practicality, I personally feel, ensures itself. So if you're solving a global problem, you'll never die of hunger. So people will pay you, some organization will pay you, or you can create your own organization and let people pay you. And you can also get good social respect and a good lifestyle. You obviously, those things have to be optimized again. What times do you want to pursue your hobbies, etc.
Thank you, Aditya. It was really insightful to get those points. And the thing you said about social change and doing something for the society, it's really impactful, because that is a point that most of us don't consider while choosing a career. मैंने जब अपना career का choose किया path, I had this point, fortunately, and मेरे पास right people थे guide करने के लिए मेरे को. I had Pragba ji and Maras and everyone guiding me, my parents guiding me through this. So thank you for the answer. And I would like to pass on to Riddhi for a quick game, and then we'll continue again.
Hello again. So this game is a bit a game where we kind of, show our listeners that Aditya Bose is also a normal 20s wala person. And he also have lots of fun apart from doing lots of other academic and amazing things. So are you ready for that game, Aditya?
Sure, Riddhi.
Yeah, so this is known as rapid fire game, and we expect rapid answers full of fire. Okay, sure. So I would like we expect that the answer should be quick, like as quick as possible. First question here is title of your story. Like if you can, write a story, what could be the title?
The entrepreneur who failed many times.
Okay. Next, name one thing you failed at.
Many, but two failures which majorly struck me. One of them was an out and out failure. Initially, it felt like it, but again, so one failure was JEE main, where I did not score a good enough rank and, in the JEE advanced to get into IIT. And one was in KBC. So actually, many people don't know this because they haven't watched the full episode. I actually did not win a big amount in KBC. I won 10,000 rupees. At that time, it really hurt me. Yeah, startup ke liye funding liya tha wahan se. But then I thought that my startup got promoted on national television. So great plus side of that as well. So pros and cons to everything. But yeah, these two felt like the biggest failures of my life at that particular point.
I think getting into KBC is an achievement in itself. People wait for like 20 years and still couldn't make it. So I think at such an young age, it's an achievement. So yeah, congratulations for that.
Thank you so much.
And the next question is one millennial habit of yours.
It's a very bad habit. I am myself trying to get rid of it, and I would advise other people to also get rid of it. It's getting your mobile to put you to sleep. So, watching something till you fall asleep. So earlier I did not have a smartphone, so this never happened with me. But ultimately I got really addicted to my smartphone. So sometimes I really need my mobile to guide me to sleep. So I keep surfing till. Yeah. Sometimes it also falls on your face. So you're surfing your mobile like this and then
yes,
it slips from your hand when you're falling asleep.
Classic millennial habit, I must say. Favorite pastime thing to do?
Listening to music.
Okay. One guilty pleasure.
Eating a lot of sweets.
Ah, your motivation mantra.
Dream big, work hard, stay humble.
Great. 3 words to describe the culture you want to create.
A culture of education, good healthcare, and respect for agriculture and people associated with agriculture.
Okay. 2 top things out of your daily routine.
Mostly I work on my startup. So, okay, so maybe, I can define this, like break it down. So at 10 a.m. every morning, we have a morning team huddle. So I drew inspiration from the cricket, all the cricket I watched. As I said, sometimes you learn from even the things that you think are just entertainment. So in cricket, I used to watch the Indian team before stepping into the game. They would make a huddle and, they would discuss stuff and then game time. So I wanted to create that thrill for my startup as well. So every morning when we meet at 10 a.m., we just discuss, what we did yesterday, what we are going to do today, how's work-life balance and how's morale. So it almost feels like it's our own private huddle, even though it's happening on Google Meet. So not remotely as thrilling, but still pretty close. And one thing is, so I this is something that I do every night. I think about, what could I have done better this day? So this helps me kind of analyze and make my decision-making process better, because I personally feel that sometimes in decision-making, it's important to also think about, if you had made a wrong decision, what had you not considered that you would want to consider the next time? So yeah, just analyzing it makes your decision-making process better.
Next question, your last impulse buy.
Last impulse buy? Earphones. I buy a lot of them.
Right. None of them have a longer life though, but
yeah.
One annoying thing about you.
One annoying thing. I sometimes get angry at first world problems that I'm facing, which I don't like anymore. So like, I'll give you an example. So let's say this is a very important call for me. And if my internet wouldn't work out, it's not really in my control, right? That's up to the internet service provider. Sometimes I get so angry that I would want to take this laptop and bang it. And sadly, now I have grown up, so this laptop might break into 2 pieces. So firstly, I did my own damage. Secondly, there are people who don't have a laptop and an internet connection. So what am I really angry about? At least I have it. So these thoughts come to you much later when you have already done the damage. So I'm trying to control it. Now I'm getting better at it, but still sometimes I get angry unnecessarily. So yeah, that's one bad habit I have.
I must say this is quite common in all of us. The last question is, okay. So on this note, I would like to pass the screen to Tanvangi again for the further question. Thank you.
Thank you, Riddhi. The game was refreshing for Aditya. I think we had a lot of questions. We were budging him a lot with all the career questions. So अभी बहुत सारे audience के questions आ रहे हैं. Like we have a question from Preksha regarding parental pressure. या फिर what to choose between passion or profession. या हम बात करें about studying a subject and actually pursuing a career in it is a two different things. और what is a startup, what is entrepreneurship. या फिर हम बात करें कॉम्पिटेटिव एग्जाम्स के लिए इतने सारे क्वेश्चंस आ चुके हैं आदित्य, बट आई थिंक दीज क्वेश्चंस आर more in depth for in workshop, I think. So what do you think? कि questions हम थोड़े workshop में लेने लायक है ना?
हाँ, मतलब some of these questions are really, require really long answers. And as you're seeing, I have really long answers for everything mostly. So let's say, the topic of parental pressure. Now, how to deal with it is one session in itself, usually, which I do with school or college students. And it's some really good information I can share, because I personally feel that this is something I have faced. This is something I've seen a lot of people face with me. So yeah, many topics like these can be covered in separate workshops itself. So
let's have a workshop with you then.
Yeah, that actually would be great, if that can happen.
Sure, we'll just work it out and we'll plan it. But the question that I was really intrigued about is, हमने आपकी वेबसाइट देखी and वेबसाइट में आपने स्पेसिफिकली मेंशन किया है कि आपने केबीसी में जाके जो क्वेश्चन गलत आंसर किया है, आपने वो स्पेसिफिकली have mentioned in a proper post. So what was the reason behind mentioning? उसको mention क्यों किया? Why did you mention that?
So before going to KBC, obviously you do your own research. So I found out that every time, contestant goes from KBC, irrespective of whatever amount they have won, they highlight the question which the person could not answer. So the headline in most of these news outlets is, so let's say if Aditya Bose is a contestant, Aditya Bose could not answer this easy 12.5 lakh question. Can you? So that's the headline most of the times. And I felt that since I have not even won a big amount, that would be intensified, So I personally felt really bad about it. I'll not lie to you. Now obviously I've gotten over it long back. But at that time when I lost that question, because see, that one question, if I would have answered, I would have won 3,20,000. It's 3,10,000 more than what I won. Plus I would have gotten a chance at 6,40,000 question. Who knows? Maybe I would have known that. So now obviously when people see this, they won't believe कि यार इसकी GK कहाँ अच्छी थी. Believe me guys, it was not that bad. Just one day. So when I sat down that day, I'll tell you the sequence of reactions that happened which led to this. My mom was my companion. She's usually a very positive person, over positive person, you can say. The worst thing can happen, she'll end up saying जो होता है अच्छे के लिए होता है, with a smile on her face. Sometimes it really irritates me also that, Mom, why don't you think practically? But sometimes it's really good to handle and tackle the situation. In fact, most of the times, she has converted me from a pessimistic to an optimistic person. So that's definitely her credit. Now, I went back to her. So first I started blaming her. That why did you ask me to apply to KBC? See, now I am going to get humiliated on national television. Ki startup ka founder is a simple answer nahi hota. Then 10 minutes after that, I got over that thing. So then I started saying, yeah, I was really stupid. I should have quit. I should have at least gotten 1,60,000. Could have been a more dignity-based, exit from the program. Then I started thinking that, okay, maybe I should because now this has happened, I should find a way to tackle this and accept it. Because now this has happened, people will know and people will ask me. And believe me, a lot of people ask me, as you see the YouTube comments of that particular episode, a lot of people are questioning, ये किसको भेज दिया यार hot seat पे? किसको इतना simple सा answer नहीं आता है? Maybe some of them couldn't have qualified to KBC themselves. So that's the point. I felt like a huge failure at that moment in time. I could not sleep at night because I bummed my parents so much that after a point, even my parents started feeling, yeah, maybe it is a matter of humiliation. Because I told that to them so many times that their optimism also got converted to pessimism. So even my father was like, does not seem like a great thing to tell other people about. So you don't tell other people only that you had gone to KBC. Episode will pass, a few people will notice and then they'll forget. So I could not sleep the whole night. Then in the morning, my father called me and he really motivated me that, see, there are people who don't achieve much of, reputable note in their life in terms of that, people can really talk about it. So a lot of people just do jobs all their life and then they die. But they have contributed to this world. They have worked hard. They have lived a full life with family and friends. yet nobody apart from their circle knows about them. And they live happily. You guys are young, you guys are very ambitious, so you think very big. And if you don't get it, you attach yourselves to a goal and then you sob that, you could not achieve that goal. But you had a very high goal in the first place. So like, Riddhi said, that at least you qualified 1,000 episodes of KBC, maybe 2,000 people on the hot seat out of the whole of India's population. That's in itself a great matter of luck. But when you are there, then you start to become greedy, that I want more. If I would have won 320, maybe I would have sobbed that, okay, why didn't I win 1 crore? So humans greedy. Now, I started to think that if I come back and if I talk about this experience, how I really felt, because now, obviously, most of the effect of that failure has gone. That sadness has completely vanished. But at that time, I had retained that sadness. So I felt that when the episode comes in, I'll at least, retain some bit of the sadness that I had on that day. I'll maybe relive it. And I'll write what I exactly felt on that day so that people can realize that this guy can also become successful. So why can't we? Because I have enough confidence on myself that this will serve as a proof. Tomorrow, there will be newspaper articles writing about me that this guy who had just won like 10,000 in KBC, look at what he's earning today. And if you can just learn to accept your failures along the way and not, take them too much to heart, but learn from them to go forward, I think that really helps you. So what this helped me learn, I just documented it so that people can, get a little motivated. Maybe, there's some failure that they are feeling terrible about. Maybe this can motivate them. So why did I mention that particular question, which I lost on? Because that's how they frame those articles. So I thought that maybe this will help people at least click on the article and start reading it. Then I'll give them some gyan about how you should, tackle failure and all.
So, actually, I think it's a milestone that you reach the hot seat, because मैंने बहुत लोगों को देखा है, they're sitting at home and they're answering, और या फिर क्रिकेट पे कोई मैच चल रहा होता है, they keep shouting at the players कि ये ऐसे सही से नहीं खेल रहा है, and I'm like, आप वहां जाके खेल लो if you can. So but you achieved the milestone to actually reach there, and you had the confidence to do that. So that's a major thing. So one question that comes into my mind is, बहुत सारे questions हैं जो workshop के लिए हम register कर देंगे, but एक question मेरे दिमाग में आता है, there are some people who don't know what to do with their life. Means 10 से ही वो struggle चालू हो जाती है कि कौन सा subject लेना है, या बड़े होके कौन सा college में जाना है, या life में क्या करना है. I've seen many people who don't have a particular direction in life. कहीं ना कहीं मैं भी ऐसी ही थी. आई डिड नॉट हैव अ डायरेक्शन टिल माय 10th क्लास कि मुझे एक्चुअली करना क्या है. सो उनको करियर काउंसलर कैसे हेल्प कर सकता है, और हाउ डू यू हेल्प सच पीपल?
So there's a very methodical journey to it. We see it as 4 or 5 steps. So we start with self-exploration, understanding about oneself, that how I really am, what are my innate traits, and how can I use my uniqueness to make a difference in this world. Because every person is unique. So if I today try to become an Olympic swimmer, maybe I'll not be the best Olympic swimmer, but an average one. I can improve every day still, but I'll not be the best there. But I somehow felt and discovered over time that I can become the best career guidance entrepreneur in India. So that is what I started focusing on. So similarly, there is something which I feel and which our whole team feels that is meant for somebody so unique as a person or as a student. So we help him or her figure out, their innate traits. Then after self-exploration, it comes to career exploration, which is very important because there are so many different career options available. We don't even know about half of them. If I ask anybody, what's a Foley artist, people don't even have a clue. The people who make, so there are in films, there are people who make the sounds of things happening. So let's say, clicking of a chutki bajana, or smashing of a glass. So these are things that don't get recorded very well during their shooting. So there are Foley artists who just make these sounds and earn money. I did not even know that was a career before I became a career counselor myself. So there are so many career options students don't even know about. And hence, when they try to approach the societally approved career options, if they fail, they start to feel as if they are not meant for anything and they're meant to be average or they're meant to be below average. And that's absolutely wrong. Nobody is meant to be average. We are all meant to be great at something that we are uniquely doing. So career exploration is very important in the context that what are the different career options available? What is the menu card before offering the dish? Then once we help the student make the right career choice, it comes to career planning. that it does not just help by choosing the career, you also have to take the first and second and third step towards it. So what is the degree that you're going to do, the percentage that you're going to score, the entrance exam that you're going to take, and the colleges that you're going to aim for, stuff like that. So career planning happens. In career planning, then we start working on the student skills, the skills that they need to develop to build a successful career. And once we do the skill development part, at least the students have started building their skills, then we expose them to opportunities. Opportunities like scholarships, like internships and jobs that they can get. Especially we focus on scholarships because many of the students whom we serve are from underprivileged backgrounds. So we really want them to achieve, to get an equal opportunity. Where they were born shouldn't really determine, where they end up later on. And I think it's very important, in fact, for underprivileged students to be successful so that they can motivate other underprivileged people to be successful and can pull the whole crowd out of that difficult time that they're facing. So that, birth does not really decide your journey later. So yeah, these are a few things that we do. Ultimately, a student who entered confused has made the right career choice, has made an informed career choice, has planned his or her career path ahead, has started building the skills needed to succeed, and has also started to pursue his or her passion through an opportunity that we exposed them to.
Thank you, Aditya. It was really helpful about guiding people who don't have, who are average, below average. And that kind of brings us down sometimes due to societal pressure कि नहीं cope up कर पा रहे हैं, नहीं choose कर पा रहे हैं. So I think that was really helpful. So I have a question related to your app. So tell us about your team. How do you work together, and how does the app work? Basically that.
So yeah, Pro Bono is actually much more than me. It's a 7-member team. We have a team in tech, we have a team in marketing and sales, and we have a person who designs our learning design content and the psychometric tests. So it's a mixture of the psychometric tests, videos, sessions that we do, 1-to-1 and 1-to-many, and assignments through which a report gets generated to show you how much career clarity you got. So it's a mixture of all that. And through these sessions and these videos and assessments, we try to determine that you get all the methods of delivery possible to knock the point home, that how you can pursue your passion and what's your passion. So this psychometric test actually we made ourselves because we found out when we were visiting schools. So I visited a lot of these schools, Army Goodwill schools in Kashmir, government senior secondary schools in Delhi, Haryana, Jammu, Rajasthan. We visited Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalayas in Uttar Pradesh and Punjab. We visited Zilla Parishad high schools in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalayas in Haryana. Government ITIs, colleges, private schools in Delhi, Bangalore. So we were visiting so many schools personally initially when we did not have an app. And we used to take a psychometric test, which we had taken a license for. So it was a Myers-Briggs test. Now, most of the students in villages, for them, context is very important. Have they ever heard of these things? And we used to ask them questions like, do you think that life is relative? Always agree, mostly agree, unsure, mostly disagree, always disagree. And its Hindi translation was even funnier. क्या आपको लगता है आपकी जिंदगी सापेक्ष है? Now, the students, I'm pretty sure I never thought of that question. Frankly speaking, even before asking this question, I had also never thought about it. So what will the students answer? They'll answer obviously something random because now they've never thought about it. They don't even understand the question. So the result will come out to be very inaccurate. So we decided to make a test which was picture-based, which showed them a few career options. And then based on the fact and the understanding that these are the only 4 career options existing in the world, you have to rank them in order. So that helps us determine your behavior. And it's psychology plus mathematics. So it can't go much wrong. And hence, when I took this test with Amitabh sir, his career option also came out to be an actor because that's how accurate it is. So we made this test and we tested it out. Our way to test it out was very interesting. We actually had a stall in an MBA college. At that time, it was not such a sophisticated app. It was just a Python program that I had gotten my developer to write. And I was standing. I used to handwrite reports myself after the analysis was done on the computer. So I used to give them printed papers. And my whole pitch was that I will not do the psychometric tests of children. I'll do the psychometric tests of the parent. And the parent is obviously either retired or approaching retirement. So they have already pursued most of their career. Now I'll predict what their career has been based on this test. And if I predict correctly within the first 4 guesses, then they will allow their child to go through the psychometric test and we'll get paid 100 rupees. If we make a wrong guess, then we get no rupees. And you won't believe, this is reality, I'm not making this up. All the parents I guessed rightly. In some cases, I did not even need the third guess. So that's how accurate this test is. In fact, the first lady who entered, I got her right in the first guess that she was a psychologist. And she was really surprised that because I'm an engineer, she was a psychologist. I literally beat her at her own game. So she asked me the question that, how did you get to know? So I kind of explained to her how it's, working in a way that's both psychology based and mathematics based. So then she understood. So yeah, bottom line of the story that we did a lot of small experiments to come up with this app. A lot of feedback from the sessions that we had done on ground. So another answer to the question that, initially I used to feel that, why is it taking me so much time? Ritesh Agarwal is 1 year elder to me and is so much richer than I am. But then I figured out that, this was meant to be, since I was an engineer with little experience in career counseling. Again, God, coincidence, luck, whatever you believe in, made me go into all these schools so that I watch these students, I notice them, I get to learn their psychology through practical experience, and then I can contribute to making this content and tests in a way that entertains them and educates them.
Thank you so much, Aditya, for explaining how it's done. I'm so intrigued. I want to take the test right now. So I'll do that. And ये बहुत अलग बात लगी that you did it with the parents first, because parents को convince करना ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है compared to the children. That is amazing. So let's plan a workshop with you because काफी questions रह चुके हैं. Like I literally have a list in front of me. The chat box is filled right now. So let's have a workshop with you. We'll sit and we'll discuss soon. So time constraints है, हमें messages आए हैं to continue this more. And this could go until 10 p.m. But we have time constraints to finish it by 8:30. So coming to the last question, we want to listen you more, but coming to the last question, how was your experience with Virat Youth Charamangal?
It has been amazing. In fact, I also felt that the time constraint is a little limiting. I was really enjoying this conversation. I am very much happy to be here. The questions are amazing. The game I played with Riddhi was amazing. And, really has been fun for me to be here. As you said, if there's a workshop coming up, I would be very happy to, be associated with that as well. I would really want to continue this, but again, that time constraint. So I've really enjoyed this very noble intent behind, conducting these workshops and to educate people more about different topics. I also watched some of the talks before coming to this in my preparation. So has been a great initiative from the side of Virat Youth Charamangal. Thank you so much for having me here. I really enjoyed this. I hope my answers weren't too long and you enjoyed this as well.
Thank you so much, Aditya, for coming, because जो आपकी story हमने सुनी है, we felt like you belonged to be a speaker here. And means this is what Virat Youth Charamangal stands for, to learn from what we have done, what we are doing. This is what we stand for, and you're exactly the portrayal of it. Thank you so much for coming. And I would like to thank Siddhi Di from Aurangabad for bringing Aditya to us. Thank you so much, Siddhi Di. And thank you so much for connecting everyone. Now I would like to pass on to Riddhi. And thank you so much, Aditya, once more. And we'll plan out a workshop very soon.
It was amazing. Actually, we all felt that we were part of that journey. We were just with you in the bus where you weren't buying the ticket. And I think I was the one who was watching it. Thinking, oh my God, this is the guy who's not bought the ticket. Okay. So it was like that. And I am really looking forward for the workshop, because there is a lot of questions, a lot of queries, a lot of technical points which we need to discuss. And even, yes, I want to take the test too. Okay. As I am into French now, I don't know, tomorrow, God knows, I will be into what. But yeah, I would definitely take the test. And this career guidance and career edition that Virat Youth Charamangal has come up with is not ending today, okay? It has one more day with Sadhika Dr. Pragbhaji Virat on board tomorrow. तो कल हम लोग सब वापस मिलने वाले हैं and we will be jamming up with her, and as you know she's the star, she's the shining brightest star of us, of all of us, who will just light up the night sky. Okay, so wait till end. And one more thing, as जैसे कि हम लोगों ने talk पे ही we just came up with an idea कि why not make a workshop with Aditya. So just give your responses in the chat box, as we are really looking forward for your responses and your active participation in the chat box. Okay. So tell me how many of you are actually, wishing to make conversation, like one-on-one conversation with Aditya in the upcoming workshop. Till then, everybody, thank you so much for connecting with us, staying with us, and having patience and patiently listening to us. Thank you so much for all of your support. Thank you so much for the team who has made this all possible. And you can also contact us on our social media links, which is LinkedIn, Instagram, email, all by Youth Charam Mangal. So till tomorrow, Bon Nuit, Ahua Adma. That means good night. See you tomorrow and bye-bye.